Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual.
Turn the friggin' frogs gay! Do the break, do the break. What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
Straight white's not allowed.
A man's anus is licked like this, like ice cream.
They got stuff that'll whack your brain permanently.
And then they eat the poo-poo.
I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny!
I'm doing okay. Everyone the realest go round my way. High definition like a Blu-ray. Picture my monster call me Kanye. Now break it to the left, do the break, hey. Now break it to the right, do the break, hey.
Hello and welcome to the Gay Programming Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Marceline, and I'm joined by my lovely boyfriend, Merlin Kirby. Like every episode, we're going to bring you day-to-day updates, minute by minute, of the Ukraine situation. Woo! Better get ready, boys. World War III's coming. All that Fallout New Vegas time hours on Steam is going to be coming in use with the update on what's happening at the Ukraine border. Merlin Kirby! What's happening on the Iron Curtain, bud?
I don't know.
Good. That's good. So what is Putin? Is Putin like strategically planning? Is he getting his fucking Hearts of Iron 3 game save uploaded with all the recreations of where NATO forces are?
I saw one meme about that and I was like, is this about, Biden and the whole Ukraine thing? And yeah.
I refuse to learn anything about it.
Yeah, no, I saw one meme and I was like, that's kind of funny. Is that real? And then I saw a bunch of other ones. And
It's real,
guess so.
World War III is on the horizon.
Yeah, and now I'm just kind of more things happening.
Yeah, I refuse to stay and updated on that story. I don't know anything about it other than the memes that I've been seeing on Instagram. That's it. I refuse to learn anything about that fucking wasteland that's known as Ukraine, which is mostly just filled with warehouses for Reebok shoes. I don't really care about the fucking strategic political things unless it involves me getting drafted. Then I care. And basically my response is I'm not fucking going.
I feel like I've had to learn about and keep up with too many wars, and I've had enough.
Yeah, America's the king of background wars. What's up with this one trying to be up in front and center? I didn't hear jack shit about Afghanistan until we were fucking flying out there with people hanging to the bottom of the fucking rafters of an airplane or something like that. What's up with this one where we're getting day-to-day updates? I guess it's mostly because of us and our 4 previous episodes deconstructing the Ukraine-Russian conflict.
I don't know if that's what we've been doing.
I think certainly people have learned a lot more about Ukraine from us than probably MSNBC has ever taught anybody.
I don't know if either of us have mentioned Ukraine at all in a podcast
Dude,
episode.
I mention it every single day. Roll back that clip of me talking about Ukraine from the previous episode.
Yeah.
So how you been?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing good. I'm better. I'm focused. I'm aiming high. I'm looking up weird religious places that I can go to during my existential crisis. I've seriously looked up 6 different churches, and I don't think my algorithm ads know what to do with that.
Yeah, you're unbothered, moisturized, thriving.
Yeah.
Is that what they say about worms?
I don't know. Maybe. I've just seen that phrase. It's a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's very good. Very good commentary. I'm giving you so much to work with.
I was just thinking about the worms.
You thinking about worms?
Yeah.
Well,
I see you looking at him. You know who else is thinking about worms?
Yeah, our pet bearded dragon, Lazarus. Yeah, he's probably thinking about worms right now.
Probably. If he thinks at all.
I think he thinks on a very basic level. He's probably not that crazy fucking smart bird that we mentioned before.
Yeah.
But you probably can't see his reflection or anything. He'd probably try to fuck it or fight it.
No, that's a very real thing. A lot of bearded dragon owners will put up paper on the sides of the tank because some lizards, if they see their own if they see their own reflection so much, they'll get like genuinely unnerved and stressed out because they're like, who's this freak here all the time?
So, like, basically, all bearded dragons are, like, introverts. They don't want to associate with their own kind.
Except for when they're horny.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's the same thing.
Yeah.
Where, you know, like, if I have a cis man and I'm horny, you know, I'm just, like, bend over and I fuck his ass and then chew him out naked and throw his clothes in the hallway.
I don't like how strong eye contact you're making with me while you're saying that.
Well, I thought that's what you liked during the podcast, is us having eye contact. Direct eye contact that won't break during me talking about what I do to cis people when they're alone, naked, shivering, cold, afraid in my room.
You know, when I was a kid and you'd do like staring contests with people,
I always won.
I always, if I was doing it with a friend who wore glasses, I always made them take their glasses off because I thought it helped them. But
yeah, dude, like every glasses like, gives you, like, it's like Clockwork Orange. They just like staple your eyes open to the rims of the glasses.
I don't know. I thought it was like, oh, it's blocking out some of the air.
I just love like little you just like having a staring contest and then you lose and then you're like, you only won because you had fucking glasses, fucking cheater.
No, I didn't typically lose, but I still cared.
Yeah, because you were doing weird psychological mind games with them.
Yeah.
You were like, you're just like, take off your glasses. Those will help you win. They're like, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. This is also when I went to a religious elementary school, so it's very weird.
God knows they weren't teaching you right. Like, the only people who deserve to be opening schools is, like, Islam. I'm sorry, but those are the only people who deserve to open a school. Not Christians. Certainly not Protestants. Certainly not American Protestants.
I mean, I don't know. I think it just gets into a wider discussion of should private schools really be a thing at all.
Yes.
You think so?
Yeah, I think there should only be private schools. I think, no. I'm a firm supporter of, like, fuck all this, like, for-profit school ideas and that, like, and incorporate, because I went to one.
Yeah.
I went to one, and I don't really know why I wouldn't be allowed to say it, but fuck it, SSAS, I went to one.
I too went to SSAS.
And it's just like, it's, especially in my experience there, they were just like, so, they literally, like, at least my experience there was like, literally like, they would take in as many students as they could, even though they could not handle that many students, simply because they got more money. And it was just all this like profit margin bullshit where you had like literally a teacher teaching 3 different subjects that they were not in any way certified to be a teacher over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like my like I only was there for probably like half a semester before my parents divorced, and then I moved to Kentucky. But yeah, like, awful experience. Like, I wish I'd just gone to public school because I would have like wasted my fucking life there.
I went to SSAS all 3 years of middle school, and it was fine, I guess. Thing about me though, despite being very, very poor, I have never ever attended a public school. I don't know, like...
That's why you're poor. We're taking the free options.
Yeah, I guess. Nah, I don't know.
Why was that? Was it like your parents' decision?
I think at first, kind of, like, you know, my dad, considering he is a teacher, or teacher's assistant, but, like, you know, whatever. So, I don't know, he was always very, like, you know how, the letter grades, like, mean different things? He told me that B stood for bad, and I cried when I got my first B on a report card in, like, 6th grade.
That's some nice reverse psychology for him.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it'd be like, you only have 1 good grade. All the rest are
that's
varying grades of bad.
That's what I believed until I was 11 years old.
Yeah. I remember when I cried when I got my first D.
Really?
Yeah, I, like, cried in class.
Oh my god.
It was literally, like, literally, because, like, everyone in the class, from what I remember, like, got a bad grade on that.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in Florida, so basically a teacher's job is directly affected over, like, what they did. So I don't know how this teacher was allowed to do this. I feel like it shouldn't have been in the context, but honestly, I'm a supporter if it was. But they literally just handed it out. They said, hey, yeah, everyone failed on this test, so for the sake of me not losing any of my creds on my job, this test doesn't count. And I still cried because I was like, fuck, I'm an idiot. I'm a loser who couldn't get right the multiple choice question test for Civil War America.
God,
history.
yeah. I remember one of my teachers, there was one test, and again, it was like that. It was in my advanced history class, and I think it was a big old test, and I think it had like 50 questions, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but he'd like, you know when teachers are about to really fucking break down your guys' mood, and they do that lean against the desk with their arms crossed? You know that lean?
No, I've only had teachers who were either like just idiots who like didn't like give a shit about their job because like literally they were like a billion years old and they just didn't care anymore, or I had teachers who were like, I don't know, just like hippies who got into education because hey man, that's an easy way to get money, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well no, he did that like really specific teacher desk lean that a lot of them do. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but he was like, you know, they say that if they give a monkey a multiple choice test and it can't read any of it, but it's just guessing randomly, it'll get like at least, I don't know, 37 or whatever it was questions correct just by chance. So he was like, so if you got less than that on this test, which some of you did, that means a monkey could do better than you. I was like, dude, fuck off.
What a stupid motherfucker.
Well, because, I don't know, I was just like, most of us were probably just randomly guessing on this, because tests sucked.
Yeah, that's like, I don't know, like, what a weird...
I don't even remember what it was about.
Do you even remember what subject?
Yeah, it was, history. I think it was, like, world history or something.
Man, every history teacher is, like, run by a mouth-breathing invalid.
I've had one valid history teacher.
As far as like everything, like up until before I got kind of into college, like yeah, every one of my like from kindergarten to 12th, like every history teacher was just a fucking idiot.
I've had two really incredible, amazing history teachers, but one of them was civics, so I don't know if you're counting that, but
sure, yeah. I mean, that's just like a really dumb way of saying like this is the better history that isn't just like Civil War, the founding of this country, World War II, and then the semester's over.
Yeah, no, she was so amazing. But and then I had one other really good U.S. history teacher. Don't know how I feel about his political views in retrospect, but his class was pretty fun. He was also terrible and really mean, but his class was really fun somehow still.
Yeah, the curmudgeon of the school. Yeah, I literally had a history teacher who not only said that you needed to have a certain IQ level to be creative, that if you didn't have, and I thought and I believed her for a little bit, because as someone who wanted to be an artist, I took that to heart, and I'm like, am I stupid? This literal fucking idiot, this mouth-breathing invalid that has been allowed to teach history in the state of Florida, who's practically just straight up teaching eugenics, like literally telling you that IQ points vary on like your ability of being a creative, like whatever that means, when Sean Penn probably has an IQ of 90 or whatever, like, you know, but that another funny thing that she did too, a really cute funny thing, is that she was a big old defender of Robert E. Lee, the general of the Confederacy.
I think you told me about her.
Yeah, she was such an idiot. She was just like, hey man, she just, like, he was just fighting for his home state. he didn't really like slavery, but Virginia did, and he couldn't help that, even though his family owned slaves, and he owned slaves, and all that other shit. And she was also, like, someone, too, who, like, genuinely believed that, like, I don't know, was, like, this type of person who would, like, say that if you smoke one cigarette, you will smoke crack. This is just, like, huge dare vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was a blonde white woman, which, you know, again, is just proof that these people, we need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of blonde white women.
Yeah. I remember one time I was helping somebody with English homework when they were in high school, and by helping them, I kind of mean writing an essay for them, but hey. So, like, I was looking at the instructions from their English teacher, who was like, I never met her, but I guess she was a Trump supporter and very loud about that, and she was teaching high school advanced English, and there were literally grammatical errors in the instructions on how to write the essay. Like,
of course there was.
Can we just talk about that?
Of course there was.
And I'm not one of those assholes who's like, oh yeah, if you don't have perfect grammar and punctuation, then you're stupid always. Because, like, whatever, but it was just very funny.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, that, about punctuation and stuff, that's like when you're sending a tweet. When you're, like, just having a conversation with that kind of, like, abrupt stuff. I'm sorry, you typed this out and gave it to your fucking students. You're supposed to be, like, an arbiter of education to them. Yeah. What was their subject?
Whose subject?
Like, what was their subject? This fucking person who gave you a misspelled checklist.
English.
Oh my god, that's so funny. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
I had a debate teacher who, like, literally her whole thing was, like, every single fucking day she would start with, like, trying to dispel the misheld belief that Barack Obama was a good public speaker.
All right.
Yeah. She, like, teaches, like, public speech, and, like, she's like, now, I just want to say one thing. I may have different politics than him, but I just want to say, purely objectively, Barack Obama, he's a horrible speaker. Just all throughout his speeches, he's just going, and then she did, like, kind of there was one time she did, like a depiction of Barack Obama, and I swear to God she was doing eubonics. Like, very light eubonics.
Wow, yeah. Which is really funny, because as much as I think Obama's a war criminal, but, like, he is so good at public speaking, and, like, the way
he's incredible! He's way better than this bitch teaching a fucking community college course on debate.
Yeah, no, like, I remember literally when I was with, volunteering with Planned Parenthood, and I don't remember if this was for the state or the national public speaking thing that they were doing, but we literally, like, to begin, like, the training for it, watched, like, a video of, like, an Obama interview or speech or something he did, and then, like, looked at how he broke it down into these 3 parts, and they were like, yeah, you should try to do that, where you have, like, your personal, how that affects the community, and then what the next steps are to fix it. Like, he's so good at public speaking.
This man was so fucking good at speaking that he literally, like, spoke his way into the presidency.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing else. He was a new political face. No one had ever heard of him past his book. I love that there's, like, so many people out there who just, like, genuinely are on the same page with me with saying fuck Barack Obama,
right?
But where it's like me, like, breaking down, like, policy anti-imperialistic, like, stuff, the other crowd is just like, I don't like him because he's black.
God,
I just don't like him because he's black, and I'm going to, like, say some stupid weird shit like he's a bad public speaker to defend and hide my racism, which I know deep down is there.
Yeah, that's, like, such a common awful thing, and it's like, I get it too, like, I hate it on the flip side, where you'll be talking to someone, and this was back in the day, you'd be talking about how much you hate Donald Trump, and some stupid idiot who's just not even listening to you will go, oh yeah, but Obama's bad too, and you're like, yeah, correct.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's how, like, literally Donald Trump was, like, able to convince and dumbfound so many stupid lib debaters because he would just do that all the time.
Yeah.
He would literally just, like, and his supporters would do it too. Of basically saying, like, oh, you think we're bad, but Hillary Clinton, X, Y, Z. Which is valid, sure, but that doesn't, like, undermine the fact that, like, you're doing the same exact shit.
Yeah.
And not even doing the same exact shit to, like, elevate yourselves to, like, some greater thing or anything like that. Like, no, it's literally, like, we do this because we want to be Nazis really bad. We just want the long knives day just so bad.
Yeah, it's awful.
Mm-hmm. We want to raid the Capitol and then take sick pictures for Instagram. Fucking sick posts.
God, awful.
I heard from my Uber driver who is talking a lot about his Facebook uploads.
Yeah.
That apparently Trump is saying that if he gets reelected, that he's gonna finally pardon all the January 6 people.
Oh boy.
When they were begging for him to do it when he was in office, and he said no. He didn't even say no. He just didn't do it and ignored them.
That's really funny.
And now he's like saying like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it now. If you get me in there, which you now do not have the right to vote because you're a felon." You lost the right to vote.
God.
But if I get back in that, if I get my job back, I'm gonna finally veto all of you.
That's really. Do you think he knows that? Like, do you think he knows that you can't vote if you're a felon?
He probably doesn't.
He
probably has not.
I think he's just trying to get their votes.
He's just saying dumb shit. Even though most of those people, like with the especially the ones who are like all like retired dentist and like real estate execs from Florida or whatever, they're all fine. They all got off scot-free. Like, so the only people he's talking to are like the fucking losers, like the QAnon shaman, who are like, you know, these people who are so desperately to like fight for a cause, and they choose this of all the ones, and the people who are in charge of it, the vanguard of their revolution, could not give less of a shit about them. Yeah. To the point where they're promising them something that they can't even participate in because they are fucking unable to vote.
Yeah, it's really funny. I love laughing at these people. Like, that's the big thing is there's that really big narrative of like, oh, you know, just because you don't like someone, you know, you can still be like a good person about it and civil. And I'm like, no, these people can eat shit and die because it's funny.
Well, yeah, it's just like, you know, my thing is like, I do genuinely feel there are some people in this country, or people just on like, not even just in this country, like on an international level, where I feel like, yes, we can like have some discussion and compromise, because I feel like overall their perceptions of the world are like ultimately guided by propaganda, and that can be dismantled. It's a fucking heavy process, but it can be dismantled. But there's definitely people out there who are just straight up fucking Nazis. Yeah. And it seems like there's a lot of people out there who are really dedicated and really like asserting of like, oh, we're not Nazis, these people aren't Nazis, like, and they're very insistent on keep saying that, but, you know, they're doing all the same hate speech. They're asking for pretty much the same exact things that any Nazi would ask for. Yeah. They're doing the white power thing. They're doing, like, all this shit, and then they guise it in meta-irony, where it's like, oh, it's actually irony, but it's really not. Yeah. And it's just like, it's fucking ridiculous how people like will even construe someone like myself and both of us and our political beliefs, and then like, which are like fundamentally put on like emancipation of people and helping people, vulnerable communities that don't have voice or power, and then people will like juxtapose that with like a raving white nationalist and say these are the same things. That's
another thing that I just hate about centrists. Like, I don't know, man. If I'm like talking to someone and pursuing a friendship, and then they're like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm kind of in the middle," and I'm immediately just like, I don't want to know you anymore, because like, that's always the fucking people who are like, "Oh yeah, I just don't like extremism and lack of ability to like compromise," and I'm like, yeah. But I'm not compromising on the fact that I think people of color and queer people are humans, and other people aren't compromising on the fact that they support conversion therapy and like all this other awful shit. Like,
yeah, because like I could at least understand if they're gonna say like us being extremist, like over issues of like abolishing currency or abolishing the police or like really big issues like that, which, you know, yeah, we can talk and say like, hey, is this extremist, or is this like, and yeah, like for most people's political views, especially in America, that's some pretty crazy shit. We're talking for most people's general stuff. But like, again, like most of the time we're not even talking about shit like that. The only time we talk about that is within our fine confines of circles of community, where we just kind of have equal say. The only time people say we're extremist is the issues that we're trying to communicate, and more often than not, it's like, yeah, we don't think trans people should have like 90% suicide rates.
Yeah.
Or that like we think that like it shouldn't be okay for an employer to fire someone because they're, you know, like of a vulnerable community that they feel uncomfortable by. Or that we think it's a little bit sus and kind of weird that people like comedians like Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan and other people like that can do horribly transphobic shit, and it's met with filled auditoriums of uproarious laughter and people watching it on Netflix going like, it is right, it is kind of weird when a guy with a penis says he wants to be a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like once we're like revealing that, they're like, you're just no fun. You're an extremist. You're like Osama bin Laden. And I think that really should show you more about your political viewpoints than it does about mine.
Yeah, and that's like, it's just speaking of crazy shit, man. Have you heard that the Parental Rights and Education Bill has passed the House Committee in Florida?
Don't say gay.
Yeah.
I saw very briefly on Impacted, like a little story on that.
Yeah, so that passed, and I'm pretty sure also the banning trans feminine student athletes from sports also passed in Florida last year.
I'm pretty sure, wasn't that like also like incorporated also in part in the Don't Say Gay Act that they just passed like now?
Probably. I know they passed it by including it as like a condition in another bill at the last minute, but also in Florida, I think in the year even before that.
Well, I know there was like something else you were talking about with the trans sports stuff.
Yeah, they passed that, and then earlier, I think in like 2019 or 2020, probably 2020, they passed that they will not perform, like it's illegal to perform an abortion on someone who's 16 or 17 years old without consent from both parents. So if
the parents?
So if you don't have contact with one of your parents, just
or
get fucked, I guess.
Or they're dead, or that's very...
And then, which is, I mean, like, there is a judicial way to go around it, but one, a lot of court places just don't know, because that's something they would rarely, if ever, prior to this, have to do. But also, that process can take so long that you're now further along in the pregnancy and an abortion is no longer viable, or the situation has changed and whatever. So I always like to think about those now 3 things, and whenever people hear like, oh wow, what brought you here all the way from Florida? And I'm like, fleeing is what brought me here. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely like the trans situation in like Florida has never been like great. Really, just like the gay community in general has never been great in Florida, but especially like trans. And I mean like let's just like, So this bill, from what I understand, for people if you may not have heard, basically the bill, and correct me if you've heard otherwise, but from what I understand is basically the bill prevents any teacher from having the gall of talking about shit like non-binary people, are trans, are really anything that would cause gender distress is what I think one of the like dipshit mouth-breathing DeSantis administration guys said, who's the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And basically, yeah, it's just this like, it's a bill that tries to prevent public education sectors, and it might even go to private too, from talking about trans issues to try and evaporate any discussion and evolution of them being accepted in society.
Yeah, it's basically like, it was introduced by Senator Joe Harding, and I thought this wording was very funny. It aims to limit classroom discussions surrounding sexual and gender identities, because I, as someone who went to school entirely in Florida, limit it from fucking what?
Yeah, like that's another thing too, where it's just like, I went to school not that recently, like, you know, like, and you too.
Yeah.
Like, was there any fucking Florida public school teachers who were like, yeah, okay, students, let's go over the 45 genders on the gender spectrum. Like, no one was fucking doing that. They were talking about Robert E. Lee being a good guy.
Yeah, there's that. But basically, the quote from it says that schools may not encourage classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary grade levels or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. And I was reading one interview about it where basically there was this teacher who, you know, is a gay man, very happily married to his husband, and he cannot say something along the lines of like, oh, my husband and I went out to dinner last weekend or whatever, because the parents could sue either him or the school he worked at because he was discussing sexuality stuff by just talking about his husband as a man.
Yeah, no, what we need to be doing is letting Ron DeSantis keep children uninformed of sexual orientation, sexual outlets, so he, like a weird, creepy, melting pumpkin head man, can go up to children and impose whatever weird sexual deviancy he wishes to put on it.
Yeah, and like, man, since we're just turning this into like, fuck Florida, the episode.
That's what this episode's going to be called. Gay Programming, Episode 5, Fuck Florida.
Yeah, no, because like, I remember, again, back when I did, man, am I even allowed to mention the stuff? I don't know. I might not be able to use their name because it's confidential or whatever.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'll take out names. If you
Yeah.
do that, yeah.
Back when I was volunteering with a group, we were having Zoom calls with congressmen and their assistants and whatnot, just to talk about, you know, stupid shit they were trying to pass and telling them why they shouldn't. And when I lived in Florida, my local congressman was Vern Buchanan. And if you don't know who Vern Buchanan is, he's just like Ron DeSantis Jr., you know? Like, he's just a wart that grew on Ron DeSantis' face and then jumped off and started going into politics himself. That's basically who he is.
Yeah, he's just like one of the many people of the GOP infrastructure that is in Florida. Like, you would never know him unless you were like a voter or like someone like kind of involved in politics in the Sarasota, Bradenton district.
Yeah.
Really.
So we had a meeting with Vern Buchanan's like intern or whatever, and I think it really sheds light on the whole atmosphere of these people, because his intern was 45 minutes late to our Zoom meeting. And
he's very busy stroking Israel's cock in his mouth.
So he's 45 minutes late, and then had the audacity to be really condescending during it. And because we were talking about, I think they were proposing another thing. I don't know if it passed or not. It might have, but so in Florida before, they had, quote, sex education, but it was a bunch of bullshit, obviously. And as a parent, you could absolutely opt your child out of it if you wanted. But they were changing it to where your child was automatically opted out, and you had to opt them in instead, which is just terrible if you're a busy parent who doesn't have time to sign their silly little form.
Which everyone in Florida is working fucking 3 jobs to keep up with their, like, debt-ridden lives.
Yeah, so it was just another way to limit sex ed, basically. And we were talking about, like, hey, can you not, basically? And Abe was like, yeah, I don't know, like, what schools you guys went to, but I remember having pretty decent sex ed, and I'm just like, yeah, as a stupid, like, cis straight man, you probably did. Meanwhile, this dude, just from looking at him on, like, a Zoom screen, does not know where the clitoris is. Not even remotely. Oh, no, in fact,
he
I
doesn't
don't
even think that women come.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I don't know. I just, fuck that intern specifically, is the whole point of that story.
Yeah, fuck you for being a almost probably 40-year-old intern working for Buchanan.
No,
what a fucking loser.
I think it was worse. I think he was, like, 22 or something.
Oh, God, yeah, he couldn't get hired over at BuzzFeed, so you had to work for Burn Buchanan for Sarasota Bradenton District GOP. What a fucking loser. Get ready to be a teacher's assistant for political science at the community college right next to you.
Oh,
you fucking
God.
reject.
Yeah, he sucked. It was funny, he was also wearing, like, a blazer and, like, a little red tie for a Zoom call with a bunch of volunteers.
Nice. He's a wolf. He's a legislative wolf. He probably watched House of Cards and was like, man, I'm like Kevin Spacey.
Just do as I say and political gets a Kardashian.
You hear what Sean Penn said?
No.
So Sean Penn, who played Harvey Milk in the movie version, the biopic of him, and gained much acclaim. And even my gay parents were like, oh, I love Sean Penn.
Oh, really?
I love Sean Penn, like, because he did Milk. He's just such a good guy, stands by us. Here's what he said recently. I am in a club that believes that men in American culture have become wildly feminized. I don't think that in order to be fair to women, we should become them. Cowardly jeans are leading men to wear skirts. First off, what club? The bigoted homophobe men club?
Yeah, like
sister, what? Like what fucking club is he a part of? I'm so interested in that. And also, cowardly jeans are leading men to wear skirts. I don't think he fully realizes how fucking terrifying sometimes wearing a skirt out in public can be. Honestly, you're more of an alpha man if you do wear a skirt outside in public. I mean, I'm a trans woman and I'm fucking horrified about wearing skirts in public. Gosh. I just thought that was so fucking funny. And I just think that, like, it's even better that it's coming from fucking Sean Penn, who, like, really dumb lib, like, LGBTQI people are, like, in love with, and they better not now, considering it's very fucking clear he fucking hates you. And it's in a very unique club, apparently, that you cannot join.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Also, isn't Sean Penn, like, Scottish?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Could be with a name like Sean Penn.
Yeah, so, like, if any fucking man, any group of men who are having a weak, cowardly gene that makes them wear skirts.
A kilt is not a skirt. It was done so they could hide weapons. But
yeah, I'm sure that's what Sean Penn, homophobe, would also be attesting.
God, you know what? While we're talking about Florida, I know I'm going back to it.
Sean Penn is Florida.
I'm circling back. There's more. Do you remember when, this was like a few months ago, DeSantis was like, I don't even remember, like, the wording of any of it, but basically, you know, after another great Florida legislature in the past 3 years, when he just straight up made protesting illegal.
Yeah, no, isn't that in effect?
Yes,
I'm pretty
that
sure,
passed.
like, literally, like, yeah, like, Ron DeSantis was basically going, like, straight up just said, even though, again, in Florida, no Black Lives Matter protest of any, like, significant, like, appel. Like, I mean, like, there was some in Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa's got a little hairy.
Tampa got a little hairy, but, like, you know, again, like, compared to New York, compared to, like, Oregon, compared to, like, pretty much everywhere else, like, Florida was such a little tiny speck of, like, protest for that, and not even close to being violent, especially from Black Lives Matter people.
Yeah.
If you wanted to see some fucking violent protest, let's go up to the fucking Florida Panhandle and talk to some racist-ass tiki torch burning motherfuckers.
Well, yeah, so that's an effect, and where, you know, like, you literally have lessened punishment for just willfully committing vehicular manslaughter of a protester. But anyway, within the last...
Because I gotta get to that one single White Castle in Orlando to enjoy those disgusting, soggy little sandwiches, and this bitch thinks that because cops kill black people, I shouldn't have that burger.
Yeah, no, but... So within the last few months, did you hear about him, like, trying... I don't know where this is now, but... Of him, like, trying to make moves to, like, allow, vigilante, like, task forces.
What? What? No, you don't want that, Ron!
No.
You don't want Florida men patrolling the fucking place!
I'm pretty sure it was literally something very close. I mean, this could be a mild exaggeration, but I'm pretty sure...
Well, knowing DeSantis, he loves, like, strewing up shit like this.
It came very close to him basically saying, like, yeah, I'm just gonna give random citizens guns and make sure that they have the wares to, like, keep the peace when the police are overwhelmed or, like, some shit like that. It was really weird.
My favorite moment of DeSantis pimpery came when, literally, like, the state, because, you know, if you don't know, Florida's like anti-vax capital. It's like, it's anti-mask, anti-vax. Like, they only had mask wearing because certain companies said they had to be wearing masks. It was not the government. It was not, it was like fucking, I don't know, Whole Foods or like some other company that they go to that was saying, like, as a company policy, you have to wear a mask. But, like, as far as that, like, it was anti-mask, anti-vax from government to the people. And, like, I remember being so fucking laughing like Joker when I saw that Ron DeSantis was, like, basically said that Florida had the lowest COVID rates because everyone was dying of COVID. Like, he didn't acknowledge that part. He just said that because of my leadership, we have the lowest COVID ratings in the world because, again, everyone's dead who caught it. Which was so, like, I know there's, like, a lot of people saying, I've heard in, like, certain circles where, like, DeSantis is definitely trying to, like, run for president, and it's mostly, like, relying on the fact of whether or not Donald Trump decides to run. And if he does, then he won't, and if he doesn't, then he will. Like, man, he's setting himself up to be, like, he is so fucking dumb to the point where he's, like, literally saying, I have the most non-dead people because everyone's dying. I'm giving guns to vigilantes. I'm stopping the Florida trans-talking schools. Which don't exist. But I'm saying they are.
He's such a freak.
He's crazy. He's truly what Florida deserves. He's truly, him and Sean Penn is what Florida deserves.
Because I remember, I don't think this one did pass yet, but I remember there was another abortion thing they were trying to do where it was like God, I think it might have been even something extremely insane, like banning abortions after like 6 weeks or something.
I thought you were gonna just say banning abortions after 6 p.m.
Yeah, no, but like, so the funny thing about that is like, you know, if you're if you're telling via having regular periods and you miss one, you're already at least 4 weeks. Like, so it's so ridiculous. Like,
that's like not even just in Florida. Like pretty much every like
That's true
southern
too, yeah.
anti-abortion thing was like, and it's just, it gives it like the veneer for like people who are just ignorant and don't know how abortions or pregnancies work because they haven't absorbed that information because usually they're like a man who's or a woman who's never been pregnant or like, you know, just some dumb shit, and they like put it in the veneer of like, oh well, yeah, well we still allow abortions, it's just not after 6 weeks, and that makes you go like, well 6 weeks, that's like almost 2 months, like, you know, then it's really your problem. Without like realizing that most people don't even really know that they're pregnant until well after 6 weeks, unless they're just always checking if they're pregnant every single day.
Yeah, or they just have regular periods like clockwork, which like no
never
one does.
Never fails.
God, just speaking of anti-abortion stuff, did I ever tell you about the anti-abortion protester who literally killed someone?
That happens like every time. Like there was literally like when I was a kid, I fucking saw people like blowing up buildings and shit. Like,
well, what about like, okay, this one was literally, I think she was charged with manslaughter, but like literally just one-on-one killed a person in front of her in her house. Life. No, let me give you the rundown. So my local abortion clinic, I did volunteering there and I did escorting. Basically, the patient parks and you go up to them and you go, hey, would you like me to walk you up to the building so that these freaks over here don't start screaming at you and getting in your face? Yeah. And usually they're like, yeah. So that's what I was doing, but the unfortunate part of that is you have to deal with the screaming freaks, and for legal reasons, you cannot look at them, talk to them, touch them, anything. So...
But it doesn't say anything about kissing them. Just
I think that would break, like, all of those rules.
Well, it didn't specifically say kiss. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying what legal wasn't asking.
But yeah, so there's this one family who would protest there all the time, and I met the husband.
I think he told me the story,
so, like, he sucked. He was screaming about, like, at me specifically my first time there. He was like, oh, a new one, and then he just started screaming at me. So bad that, like, the security guard who was watching the cameras, like, came out and got in front of me and told him to back the fuck up. Which was great. Love that guy. But anyway, so his wife, right, she equally insane. And there was this woman who was she was going to have an abortion, and she, for whatever reason, was like, oh no, I'll help you deliver the baby for free, and then, you know, I'll help you with, like, putting it up for adoption or, like, whatever, and just convince this poor woman, like, yeah, okay.
Even though they, like, again, based off of ignorance and do not know that, like, adoption is not, like, this great thing that, like, especially in this system, like, if we were in a country that maybe had better infrastructure with adoption and a higher success rate with adoption, maybe. Yeah. But again, there's a big reason why no one fucking hears any great stories from adoption places other than gay people getting denied or whatever. Like,
But anyway, so yeah, they were doing that, and so she's at her house, and this woman, zero prior medical knowledge or training, anything. She's just some lady who probably works as, like, a receptionist or something. I don't know. And so she's at her house, and something's going wrong. Something's going wrong. And instead of calling 911 or doing literally any reasonable response, she stops everything she's doing and starts praying.
I mean, that's the most easy response.
Over this lady. So this woman and the baby both died. And she was literally just charged with, like, manslaughter. And I know she's not in jail anymore, so I don't know what happened. But, yeah. That's the story.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
I have more stories about that couple specifically, but that after I've told you that one, everything else is just boring.
I'm just like, just Jesus fucking Christ. Just like how, like, I can deliver a baby. I've read the birth of Jesus quite sometimes, and even though they don't go too deep in the details of how it works, I believe through Jesus, he will guide me through this. And then you like 2 dead people charged with manslaughter.
Yeah, no, that's just the bizarre thing to me, because I'm like, even, okay, like, at this point, when she's, like, at your home, dying in childbirth, she's already not having the abortion. Your goal is met. Why are you not calling, like, an ambulance? What, did God say not to do that too?
They're Satan's warriors.
Yeah, like, you just let these people die in your home. Like, I just can't. And then they still have the gall to go to Planned Parenthood and stand outside the building yelling at people about it.
Hey man, that's God's plan. God works in mysterious ways. And often, sometimes incomprehensible, stupid ways. But always, always in ways that make sense to my stupid, ill-deprived brain that's only being operated off of the substance that I can squeeze out of a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Sorry, that really got me. The only queer people who aren't valid queer people are the ones who are like, yeah, I know it's bad, but I still eat Chick-fil-A. I'm just like, dude, eat shit. I mean, you already are, but...
Let me just say, I agree with what Merlin said and everything, but, those chicken nuggets are pretty fucking baller.
Yeah, but the vegan chicken nuggets I make are better.
Well, honestly, to tell you the truth, the whole Chick-fil-A thing, man, just go to Popeyes. Popeyes is way better. Like, if you want a good chicken sandwich, like, because that's the thing I always, like, fucking hated about, where it's just like, oh, the chicken sandwich is No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not a good fucking chicken sandwich. Like, listen, first off, I'm not even saying, like, Popeyes is the best chicken sandwich of all time, but I'm telling you for a fact that it's better than fucking Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich. By a fucking mile, because they got some sick-ass fucking mashed potatoes on the side of that. Does Chick-fil-A get mashed potatoes? Fuck no. They'd rather you eat that slimy fucking chicken sandwich with 2 fucking pickles on it for some fucking reason. That was their only decision to put on. It was 2 fucking shit pickles from the bottom of a fucking pickle jar.
Yeah.
And then they put it on there. So just go to Popeyes or make your own damn chicken sandwich.
Sure.
Or go to Culver's. Culver's has a better chicken sandwich. Fuck, even Burger King now has a better chicken sandwich than fucking these losers.
I've never eaten a fast food chicken sandwich. I've never eaten a fast food sandwich, ever.
Well, you're just not living. You're not living your best life.
In fact, you know, I remember, like, so after I went vegetarian was when I had my first burger. It was like an Impossible or like Bean Burger or something, but up until like age 16 I had never had a burger, and I've still never had an actual beef burger, and I for some reason am very, very proud of that. I don't know why. It's like my weird unintentional like life's accomplishment.
That's like my bragging point.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you're like one of those assholes where it's just like, you know, you don't post like pictures of you like working out and then like under it says like gains are always what I gain, like, you know, or something stupid. It's like you just like saying no to a hamburger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, not even once.
Yeah. I don't know. I had this weird problem growing up where I didn't even really eat sandwiches of any kind or burgers, obviously. Like, I just had this weird problem with too many foods at once. Like, you've got bread, some kind of meat, cheese, vegetables, condiments. It was too much. It was like, I don't like this.
Oh, so you're one of those people. I guess I was kind of like that too, where I didn't like. I was like weirdly like. I don't know. I'm not trying to be ableist here, but yeah, I was like a little weirdly like autistic with like my food, where it just like I did not like things touching. I did not like literally if I saw like ketchup that was meant for my fries, and if it touched my burger, I would not eat the rest of that burger. Like it was weird like that. Like I hated like sensation, over sensation in like my mouth and stuff like that.
Yeah, you want to know something really, really funny?
What?
So you know when we like moved in together and we were getting groceries together for the first time, and you were like, "Oh, I'll get some buns for a burger or whatever." Up until that point, I'd never in my entire life bought buns like that to have at home. And you want to know how I was eating those lovely vegan buffalo chicken patties?
Well, you were just using a fork.
I was just using a fork and a knife, just one by itself on the plate, not even cheese. And then eventually I started melting cheese on it, and I was like, this is good. And then I was still eating it with a fork and a knife, though. And then I saw you buying buns, and in my brain I was just like, that never occurred to me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was actually since this is also a history podcast. It's like a fun little history fact is see on the disgusting boot-like shaped country of Italy, there was a bunch of Neanderthalic little wops running around the
Where are you going with this?
Running around the fields, taking their little cheese patties that they had on the ground and eating them. And they're like, "Oh, what if we put it on the bread? What if we put it on the bread? Put the cheese on the bread." And they did that, and they're like, "Oh," they ate it. They're like, "Oh, it's good. It's good. I like it. It's good seeing Mama eat this little pizza." And the mom is like, "It's no good. It's no good." And they're like, "What? And they're like, "What do you mean no good? What do you mean?" And mom is like, "No worries. She dumped a bunch of fucking tomato sauce on there, and that was the very first pizza of all time. In Rome, baby."
You're the worst. Yeah.
In 1974, in the great state of Italy.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you one time when I was, I don't know, I think like 14, it was like January-ish, really early January, right after my mom had a holiday party. And the thing when my mom has holiday parties, there's so much alcohol, she just starts running out of places to put it, especially if it's something that needs to be refrigerated. So,
Your mom knows how to throw a good party.
They were not good parties. It was just the entirety of my not even extended family. It was just like my 3 brothers show up one time out of the year, and this was it.
To get drunk.
Yeah.
Which is fair.
But yeah, so I remember one time I was looking for something to eat, and I guess she just stuffed this in this drawer because she didn't have anywhere else to put it. But I open up this big drawer at the bottom of the fridge, and I see an entire sack of potatoes and like 4 bottles of Guinness just haphazardly thrown into the drawer. And I remember just looking at it both together and being like, nice. And then closing it.
These will serve our boys over in the fighting the fucking English in the northern part of the island.
Yeah, it's like the emergency stockpile that you need.
Come out, you black and tan, come out and fight me like a man. Show you white power, you unmetal down in Flanders. How the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lanes of Killishanna. Come let me hear.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Gay Programming Podcast. As always, I was your host, Marceline, and joined by my lovely boyfriend, MERLIN Kirby. You can find us both on Instagram. The Gay Programming Podcast also has its own individual Instagram, which you can follow. Link is down below, but you can also follow our individual accounts, me at FemMarks on Instagram, and MERLIN Kirby is Angsty Vegan. But it's a private account, so no sending friend requests or unsolicited pics. We will block you. We also have the gay programming YouTube, which I also operate, where YouTube uploads can be found. We also have a SoundCloud, where if you want to listen to these podcasts on the go, you can do that. Merlin is also a professional New York Times best-selling author.
I'm not.
They don't care. They don't check.
They would. They'd be like, oh wow, 1 5-star review on Amazon.
Well, hey man, there's some New York Times bestsellers with less than that. but yeah, Merlin has a book, which is called Self-Help for Real this time, which is going to be linked down below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a wonderful time in this post-apocalyptic hellscape that we all find ourselves in. And we will be seeing you again real soon. Bye.
Bye.